For 25 years, the man across our street lived behind drawn curtains and a trimmed hedge. My parents never called him by his name. They called him a warning. Don't look over there. That's not right. He's a monster. The word settled into me before I understood what it meant. When I was little, it made the street feel dangerous. When I was older, it made me feel important, like we knew something others didn't. I never saw him do anything. That didn't matter. The story had already been decided. Years later, when my own mistakes became neighborhood gossip, when I heard my mother describing me as too knave to a relative on the phone, I started to wonder how stories form, how quickly they harden, how little proof they require. So I chose a reckless experiment. I dressed softer than I felt, smudged my eyeliner, practiced looking uncertain. If he was what they said, he would see weakness and move toward it. If he wasn't, I didn't know what I would do with that. When he opened the door, he didn't smile, he didn't leer either. He just waited. Yes, his voice was plain, not warm, not cold. I delivered my rehearsed version of myself, confused, overwhelmed, not sure who else to ask. I let my shoulders fold inward. I made it easy. He studied me for a moment, then stepped aside. His house did not look like a lair. It looked like a file cabinet someone had turned into a home. Stacks of documents in labeled folders, framed certificates, old photographs of what looked like community cleanups, block meetings, tree plantings. The air smelled faintly of paper and lemon polish. He didn't offer tea. He didn't ask intrusive questions. He listened while I stumbled through vague problems. "You're Salim's daughter," he said finally. I felt my spine straighten despite myself. "Yes." "You used to lose things in my yard. A red ball. Once a shoe." His mouth twitched, not quite a smile. "Your father didn't like coming to the gate." That memory flickered back. My father standing stiffly on the sidewalk while this man handed over a muddy sneaker. I remembered my father's tight jaw. I had assumed it was fear. "He told you about me," the man said, not accusingly. I didn't answer. He walked to a cabinet and pulled out a thin folder. Inside were photocopies of old municipal letters. "I reported your father 25 years ago." He extended his shop into the drainage line. It flooded 3 houses that monsoon. He said it like weather, not like revenge. The city ordered him to fix. He did. We never spoke again. The room felt smaller. They began warning people about me soon after. Said I watched the street, that I was unstable. He closed the folder gently. "I do watch the street. I like knowing what changes." I tried to reconcile the word monster with the man in front of me who aligned his papers by their edges. Before I could speak, the doorbell rang. He excused himself and opened it. A woman in a navy vest stood outside, holding a clipboard. The city emblem was stitched over her pocket. "Mr. Rahman?" she asked. "Yes." "I'm here to finalize the compliance certificate. We reviewed your documentation. Everything is in order." She stepped inside briefly, flipping through the same labeled folders I had just seen. She nodded, made a note, and extended her hand. "Thank you for your patience these past years. Your reports have been consistently thorough." He shook her hand once. No pride, no performance. I stood in the hallway, invisible and suddenly aware that authority had just done something my family never had. Looked at the evidence. When the inspector left, the silence was different, not tense, just clear. "You came here expecting something," he said, not unkindly. I did. I searched for the version of myself that had rehearsed fear. She felt childish now. "I don't know. I admit it. I think I wanted to prove my parents right." He nodded as if that made sense. "It's uncomfortable when they aren't." I walked home slowly. The street looked ordinary. Children rode bicycles past his hedge. A neighbor waved to him as she carried groceries. No one looked afraid. At dinner, I asked my father about the drainage line. He stiffened. My mother's fork paused midair. "That was settled years ago," he said. He exaggerated. "Did he?" I asked quietly. My father's certainty, once so solid, sounded rehearsed. My mother avoided my eyes. They did not shout. They did not confess. They repeated versions of the same justification. He was difficult. He embarrassed us. He was always watching. I noticed what was missing proof. Something in me shifted, not loudly, but permanently. I had always thought fear meant danger was present. Now I saw it could also mean pride was wounded. In the weeks that followed, I didn't defend him publicly. I didn't confront my parents dramatically. I simply stopped participating. When neighbors mentioned him in cautious tones, I said, "He helped fix the flooding years ago, nothing more." The word monster stopped passing through my mouth. Sometimes I see him trimming his hedge. Sometimes he looks up and nods once. We have not become close. There is no sentimental ending waiting across the street. But I no longer inherit fear without inspection. And when my parents speak with certainty about someone's character, I listen for the missing paperwork.